This is when it goes, yay, we're live. It didn't do it this time, not like yesterday. Hello, everybody. And apologies for yesterday to anybody who watched my promotional video live for this. When I had the first 40 seconds sitting there like a baffled owl one going, why won't it connect? Because it was bloody well telling me that I was having problems connecting to the internet. You mean while I was actually live? So you got treated, whoever watched it, to 40 seconds of me looking completely baffled. Thankfully, I didn't curse or libel anybody. So I'm very relieved to see that we connected fairly quickly today. So look, you're all very welcome. Pull up a chair, get comfortable, and enjoy the next 30 minutes or so. We're broadcasting live right now on Twitter, on Periscope, which will be gone shortly, I think, on Facebook and on YouTube. And as I say, anybody who's watching this back later, as I know a lot of you do, you're also very welcome, and thank you for joining us. Once again, just a reminder that any of the previous episodes of this webcast are now available on my website, which is barbarascully.com. And if you enjoy them, if you enjoyed this one, please do me the favor of sharing the links. That would be very, very useful and very good. So, as I say, we have a nice 30 minutes lined up for you, and I know you're going to enjoy my guest today. And I'm thrilled that she has taken the time out of what I know is a very busy schedule at the moment to join us. Samantha Kelly is a social media specialist, a Twitter expert, a business coach, and founder of the Women's Inspire Network, which supports female entrepreneurship. Sam, thanks a million. It's great to see you. I haven't seen so many people like you who I would bump into every so often. I haven't seen you in ages. So it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you too, Barbara. And thank you so much for asking me. I'm delighted to be here. And I know a lot of your audience are people that I would follow also on Twitter and stuff. So it's lovely to be here. Thank you for asking.
Exactly. Putting a bit of life behind the name and the Twitter handle that everybody knows so well. How are you doing during all of this pandemic shit show that seems to be never ending?
Do you know what? I'm okay.
Good.
I'd be more worried about, my daughters, because one is 21 and one is 40. I'm more worried about the younger people because I don't think, we've done all that kind of, the first crush and all that all that kind of stuff. And I just feel they're missing out and being able to go and socialize and stuff. And, that's really, but I'm okay. We're okay. See, myself and my husband, we don't go out anyway. I mean, I just realized how much I don't do. Yeah.
You're still in the honeymoon stage, are you not? Anyway,
yeah,
so
exactly.
you're happily nesting away there, chilling out, enjoying the two of you. Not like the rest of us who've been married forever and kind of going, oh,
Exactly. Well, I have to say a lot of stuff got done around the house. But I'm very lucky. I live in Rosslare Harbour, so I live by the sea. So I know I'm very lucky, and I know that I am blessed to live near the sea. So I'm about 5 minutes walk from the beach. So I have 3 dogs, so I'm able to get out, which is brilliant. I do miss my business meetings and my trips to Dublin when I'd stay overnight and stuff like that. The kind of glamour side of business, I suppose. I miss that part, dressing up.
Yeah.
And I'm up for an award on Friday night. And it's obviously it's going to save me a fortune in having to get the tan and the hair done and the dress and all that. But I'm going to go to that. This is the Digital Business Awards. So that'll be Friday. So I'll be just here in my room,
Like so many award ceremonies. I think my husband, Paul Sherwood, is a photographer, and the Press Photographers Awards are on a Friday night as well. And that's usually a night out for yours truly here, going along playing the dutiful wife normally. But again, a nice excuse to get dressed up, get the hair done, get the makeup done, and be sitting here in her pajamas. I presume he'll get dressed up a bit because he'll be doing the virtual stuff, but I won't be there at all. So the best of luck. What is
Thank
the award again? A Digital Business Award?
Digital Influencer of the Year. I'm up against some really tough competition though, so we'll see.
Is this an international award or an Irish award?
No, it's an Irish one. Digital Ireland Business Awards. Yeah.
Great. Well, the best of luck. We'll all be cheering you on, and we'll be waiting to hear how you got on. As you know, this podcast is about how to stay sane, and you mentioned already that you live in Rosslare Harbour and that you're very close to the beach.
Yeah.
Is getting out in the fresh air and in nature, and your dogs, who you mentioned as well, how important are they at a time when all the social, as you said, the social end of life has been truncated?
I have to say that they have saved my sanity.
Right.
Really, because I do work a lot. I'm lucky that I can still work, and I know there are people watching that probably can't work, and I know how frustrating that must be, because I would just be lost if I wasn't able to work and do something. But I do need to get away from the work as well, and I need to get switch off because, in my business, I'm on social media a lot. I'm online a lot and doing stuff like what you're doing here, interviews and stuff. And I just find I need to get out in nature. Nature is very important to me. There's a beautiful gardens here a lot of people don't know about. Actually, it's called the Memorial Gardens here in Rosslare Harbour, and it's all run by volunteers. And I actually love walking there as well because the birds are singing. I've really got into nature a lot more. Actually, it's so funny. You
That's
know,
really interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. I was talking to Anne Toohey before this on her webcast, and we were talking just about that. I
yeah,
think that there's a heightened awareness of how important nature is to all of us.
yeah, yeah.
Which hopefully will remain, will remain with people who perhaps in the past maybe didn't notice the birds singing and the.
Yeah, I think you always like nature too, because you're always talking about the fox and stuff in the garden. But and the squirrel. The squirrel was the best. I loved that. I loved the squirrel in the hurricane. That was just so funny. And you see, this is what people often say. Well, how come you've so many followers, and how come? And we know it's actually because we just show behind the scenes what we're up to. Like, and it's just, and you have to have a sense of humor. If you didn't have a sense of humor, it doesn't during this pandemic, you really would be screwed. Like, I mean, I'm lucky. I'm on a program as well. I'm 13 years sober this year, and I am so lucky.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I'm so lucky I'm on a program. So all those slogans, a day at a time, this too shall pass. All of those things have become more and more important to me during this. And, things that I can't control. I know I can't control this, but all I can do is do what I can for today. And whether that is making a dinner or getting up and having a shower and not sitting around my pajamas, like suiting up and showing up. I see Covery is there and Rachel watching. Sam taught loads of people to switch their business and livelihood online. Thank you so much, Covery. And I met her actually in Glengarriff. The one time we did get a chance to get out of lockdown during the summer, I went down to Glengarriff, went camping with my daughter, and then I went back with my husband, and we stayed in the hotel there and went on a trip on a boat out to see the dolphins, and we went fishing. Oh, just lovely. I'm telling you.
Beautiful spot.
I can't wait to go back. I'm in love with West Cork. I really am. And I live in a lovely place here too, but if it wasn't
There's something special about West Cork, I have to say. I go down to West Cork to the Sheepshead Peninsula every summer for a few weeks. And again, talking about things that save your sanity, it totally does save my sanity. What was I going to say? You were talking there about Twitter and about, building followers on Twitter. And I think the first time we met in real life was at the Twitter Christmas single. Am I right on that?
That's right. That's right. And you were very kind. You gave me a lift.
I gave you a lift. But I mean, that was, I wasn't that long on Twitter, but I was always amazed at the people I met who I knew and had interacted with on Twitter were very much like what I imagined them to be when I met them in real life. I always think that on Twitter in particular, because it's such a short way of communicating, that people can't really pretend to be somebody they're not. And the more authentic you are, the more you'll get interaction. Would that be something you agree with?
Totally agree with. And I'm always telling business owners, like people buy from people at the end of the day. Like, I mean, yourself, I've referred some business and, we refer business. When you get to know someone and like and trust them, you're going to send them business. I mean, how many photographers are there out there? How many people are there, women that could speak at events are there out there? But I'm going to give the business to people I know are not going to let the organizer down, are going to give value and are going to give value to their audience. So it's about building relationships. That's really what Twitter is about. And when you do meet them in real life, it's such a buzz. I mean, I couldn't hug Covery at the time because we were still in some kind of lockdown, but being able to actually, it's hugs, not handshakes when you actually meet, and that's what I always say. It's lovely.
Yeah, no, and it's like meeting somebody that's kind of like an old friend, but a new friend at the same time. It's a very strange one. But coming back to women in particular on Twitter, because I think Twitter gets a lot of bad press, and particularly in relation to women. And I mean, that's real. I think there are there is a high level of abuse that's hurled at women, particularly women with any kind of a profile or an opinion on Twitter. But leaving that aside, it really is a very powerful way for women, particularly small business owners, to market their product or their business without a huge investment of anything other than time.
Time. Yeah, I totally agree. It's fantastic for business. And that's why I saw a niche and I knew there was loads of social media experts, but there's no real kind of Twitter experts. So I said, So I kind of grabbed that spot by, tweeting Goddess is my Twitter handle. But even, when I see business owners, I love the power of being able to help someone by just a retweet, by showing them to a new audience, a totally new audience, like you're doing for me today. Like I'm probably some people don't know who I am or whatever, but at least I'm getting in front of a new audience today. And like even this lady, Liz Christie, she hand weaves scarves. And I bought this because I said, you know
That's
what, I'm going to
magnificent
support.
color.
It's beautiful. And it's for sober St. Patrick's Day, right? So I'm not into Diddy Idle Doodle Day and all, but I do love being Irish. And I love the fact that if we can support Irish businesses, all over Christmas, I created the Irish gift ideas list, for example. And I just started saying, look, let's just buy Irish if we are going to buy gifts. And I just feel it's so important that we support each other through this. And this is going to sort the men out from the boys, this pandemic. The people who are giving hope, helping others and sharing their knowledge, they're the ones that are going to survive this, but thrive also, because people are watching. Decision makers are not necessarily in the office. More people are online than were ever online before, especially ordering stuff online instead of going to the shops and stuff. So this is a time for people to actually, show that you're the expert, so that when all this is over, you're going to stand out at the end of it and people will know. And it's already happening for me. I have had opportunities from all over the world, seriously, because I'm actually showing, I'm helping people, I'm showing up, I'm sharing my knowledge, and then instantly people are tagging me as the go-to person for anyone that asks, and that's really, I'm always saying it, small business owners in particular, the bigger brands are actually probably not doing as good a job online lately,
But that comes back, doesn't it, to what you just said about relationships and
Mm.
about personal relationships. And I
Yeah.
often think, again, I'm no expert, but I mean, sometimes, it's when you look at big corporates and you look at their Twitter feed, you can
Yeah.
see the ones that are automatic and are just doing some kind of learned exercise in and using Twitter as a kind of a megaphone, which doesn't engage with anybody and doesn't affect anybody and doesn't
Yeah.
move anybody. And people then,
Inspire. Yeah.
yeah, and
Inspire.
then you've some corporates who can manage, and it's usually through humor to actually make themselves sound or appear to be way more human than perhaps others do.
Yeah, yeah. I just see a little comment coming in there, Misha Anya. Hiya. Can you send me the link for the scarf later, please? I will, of course. It's Liz Christie Designs, Mother's Day coming up too, along with St. Patrick's. Actually, I think we should start a hashtag right now, Barbara. Hashtag
Okay,
Barbara and Sam. Hashtag
okay.
Barbara and Sam, or staying sane. What's it? Staying sane?
How to stay
Um,
sane is the hashtag.
Okay, hashtag how to stay sane. If we all use that hashtag now, I can connect you later and put it up on that hashtag. Okay, so how to stay sane.
Brilliant.
Yeah, let's do that.
Every day is a
Yeah,
learning day. I always feel slightly under pressure with you, Sam, because even though I've been on Twitter for a long time, there's elements of it still that I haven't a clue what I'm doing. And I mean, you showed me up yesterday on Facebook, and I was like, "What? What am I doing? Where am I to go?" So you really have become such. A lot of people think they know how social media works, but I think you've got some kind of like innate understanding of what goes on just below the surface, which makes you as
thank you.
successful as you are. But I mean, I know from the little bit I know about you that you always come across as very confident and very in control and very all about everything. But I also know that you put yourself out there, certainly in the early days, and put your head above the parapet and took leaps of faith and throwing yourself into arenas where I know that you probably felt a little bit like, Jesus, what am I doing? How, I mean, is it a case? Because I think women do suffer more than men from a lack of self confidence and self belief. So, where do you get that from?
I always look when I was young. I stood on the stage and I sang Super Trooper when I was 8 years old on the
Oh,
stage.
that'll
So
do it.
I loved the stage. So I wanted to be Madonna. And, I always had that kind of, so I did sing when I was younger. I sang with my friend Bridget. We entered competitions, local talent competitions. So I always was well able for the stage, but I didn't always have I did have the confidence, but I didn't have that valuing myself thing, though, I have to say. And I think that's a very common thing that we all kind of have. And I don't know if it's an Irish thing or it's a woman thing or what, but there is something that I remember. I went to an event and I was speaking at it, and a guy, this is what kind of helped me. This guy, we were outside having a vape. I vape, right? I have to have some vice. And I was outside with him, and he said, geez, you were brilliant. I was surprised you charged how much you did. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, the guy here last week, he charged 3 times as much as you. And I was like, I was like, no. And I just felt so, oh my God, and it really opened my eyes to, why didn't I charge as much? Why? And I had to look at that, and I had to look at, just because I love what I do, I'm like, sure, I'll just do that in a minute, or someone might ask me to speak at an event, and they'd be like, how much do you charge? And I'd be like, sure, look, I'll do, I'm like, what are you doing? And I have a virtual assistant now. She'd be like, Sam, what are you doing? You shouldn't be doing that. And so I had to learn that, even though I love what I do, which is really the dream job and the dream career, loving what you do, but I have to charge because I've built up all this knowledge and I deserve to get paid for it. So just little things like that. But confidence wise, I just realized as well that there are good people out there, like long-time supporters like yourself, and like, Rachel and Cory, and people in the chat here, Felicity McCoy. Like, there's lots of people out there I know who have my back and are cheerleaders. But then there's a lot of people that can't stand me, Barbara, and really hate me. And some of them are men, but there are some women as well. But I just had to learn that, what, that's their stuff. That's actually none of my business. So I actually learned as I went, and being on a program as well, you kind of learn, look, do you know what, that's their stuff. Let live and let live, and all that stuff. It's not everybody's going to like you.
I mentioned in the introduction that you founded, and this is kind of on the same topic, the Women's Inspire Network. Just tell us a little bit about that for anybody who isn't aware of it or doesn't know how it works and who might like to get involved. Tell us about how that works.
Well, I started the Women's Inspire Network because I felt lonely working from home, and I felt lonely online all the time, and I had a daughter who, Abby's got hearing issues, so she has 2 hearing aids, so I couldn't go to events and leave her with anyone. I had to be family or something, and I just found it difficult to get to events. And I said, hang on, maybe I can create a network online, because I could see how powerful it was and how you could actually make friendships online. I said, maybe I can build a network online, and then I could reach a global audience. So I knew there was loads of other women's networks. So everyone's like, well, what makes yours different? And what makes mine different is, first of all, it's online and I give value. I've joined a few networks before and I haven't got value. If you give value to people, if you give them webinars, what do they need right now? They need hope. Business owners need hope. True. They need inspiration. They need to learn. They need to get to more people. So they need some exposure, some PR, some opportunities. And I have built up such good relationships with journalists that I am being asked by journalists every now and then. I'll get a message saying, look, do you know anyone who can do X? Or do you know anyone that works with their sister? Or, and there's always a story, and there's a story behind every business owner. So I just knew that I had the power to give these people more opportunities. So I said, right, I created a Facebook group and I had 8,000 members. I was exhausted. So then I said, you know what, stop, Sam, you need to be a businesswoman here. So then I started charging 20 a month because I knew 20 was affordable. So what we do weekly at webinars. We give them opportunities. There's a really active Facebook group. It's really cool. Really helpful, so that if there's an issue, like, so a customer doesn't pay you, or maybe you're trying to use StreamYard and you can't figure out which button does what or whatever, we help. And there's always someone in the group that can help, to advise, and that's all it is, really. It's a network.
And it's really practical, I mean, I think I said this in my much maligned promotional thing that I did to about this the other day, is that a lot of people talk about women supporting women, and women's equality in the workplace. But there's not that many people who are actually doing something tangible and something real about that. And I think that one of the problems women encounter when they're setting up a business for the first time, regardless of what it is needing somebody that you can say, hang on, how do I do this? Somebody who's done it before, and who isn't going to make you feel stupid, and you're not like a
Yes.
safe space, I suppose, in which you can show up with all your things you don't know rather than all your
Look,
knowledge.
I didn't know how to attach a document to an email when I
Yeah,
started a business. Like I had to learn as I went. And so I wanted to be, I would have loved to have met someone like me when I started my business.
yeah,
Because someone who would help me sit down and have a cup of tea. Now, I did actually have great people who helped me along the way, who did sit down and have a cup of tea, gave me a lift after Twitter Christmas single, things like that, actually gave me their time. People like yourself, Barbara. And, it's so important to someone starting out because you're kind of going into a whole new world and you kind of feel like a bit of a fraud. Like, how can, I did anyway. And
the old
it's,
imposter syndrome.
yes, and it's just to have someone where you could say, do you know what? Actually, lady today, her Twitter was connected wrong to her website. And I just messaged her. I said, look, do you want to sort that? I can do that for you in a few minutes. So we sorted it,
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah,
it's just having that someone there to keep an eye out. And I
yeah.
keep an eye a lot out for my members. And someone's getting this woman got a comment and I just messaged her. I said, ignore it. Just ignore. And then another lady put up a thing. It was a video of her mindfulness walk in the snow. Derval Dunford is her name. And she put up this video of her mindful walk in the snow. And she hates Twitter, or she hates technology. So she's
Yeah,
creative and into anyone that's attached to the universe at all. Do not like
yeah,
tech. And Dimitri O'Donnell from RT News, he commented and said, can we use this in the news? And I just messaged her and I said, say yes.
yeah.
Just things like that, you know what I
You're
mean?
like,
So it's
I always
just,
think you're like a shepherdess minding a whole load of slightly clueless sheep who are not really too clear where they're going or what they're doing. And you're like with the whistle going, hang on, whoa, over here a bit, left a bit, right a bit. Don't be going that way a bit,
yeah,
which is brilliant. You
yeah,
mentioned a few moments ago when you were showing us that beautiful scarf, you mentioned sober St. Patrick's Day. Do you want to tell us
yes.
a wee bit about that?
Yeah, it's because I'm sober, obviously. We have an event on the 17th of March. Now, it's not my event, but William Spencer Riley, I'm actually interviewing him later on Twitter at 6 p.m. if anyone wants to tune in. But like he is someone who created this. He just wanted to create a safe place for people who didn't necessarily want to be hanging around people who were pissed. He just wanted to have an event. So it's going on. This is the 10th year, but they can't do it in New York
Yeah.
this year. So it's New York based. And I was at an event in New York speaking a couple of years ago, and I'm a member of the Irish Business Organization in New York because I want to go global. I mean, ladies, anyone that's watching that feels you can go global now because of online. You can go global because of Wi-Fi. You can work anywhere in the world because of Wi-Fi. And, I think I started reaching out to global networks and I ended up speaking at this event, and a lady in the audience, Tammy, she engages with me on Twitter ever since, but then she was asked would she be the director of the one this year, and they said they'd take it online. Who can we get to be the host? And Tammy said, I know just the girl. And that's how that
Fantastic.
happens. So I'm the host, and I'll be like Mary Kennedy now, and next up we have Mary on the fiddle, that kind of stuff. So it's really funny. But like reading the script, it's really funny. But you know what? It's actually going to be a really cool day because we have Terry McCoy from Scaries, the St.
Oh,
Patrick's Day.
lovely.
He's going to be doing, people can get the ingredients beforehand and cook along. So it's a gourmet Irish meal. There'll be music and dance, Irish dancing, all the Irishness without the alcohol. That's all it is. It's just
Fantastic.
like
It
you can have a
sounds,
drink. You can have a drink
yeah.
and watch it while you're having a drink. Just for people like me, it's a godsend because it's somewhere
Yeah,
where we
I
can
think for the
celebrate
rest of
it.
us, it's a godsend
You
as well. I mean, it sounds like a much better St. Patrick's Day than the usual kind of chaotic nonsense we have in Dublin, which I've long since bailed out of. Joan O'Connor in Ballybunion has joined and said she's
know.
enjoying the chat, really solid, no nonsense stuff. Missing
Oh,
Joan's
thanks.
Women in Media conference, which normally would be taking place in April, but we'll be back, I'm sure, next year to that beautiful Ballybunion. So
Oh yeah,
thank
I
you, Joan,
haven't
for
been to
joining
that
us.
yet. I will
Oh,
go to
Sam,
that
you've
some
got to
stage.
get your ass
Yeah,
down there. You'd
I
love
will.
it.
I will.
You'd really
I
love
will.
it. It's
I've
always, I
seen it.
mean,
Yeah.
it's interesting. There's always great speakers. Joan puts together a great itinerary of program of events and everything. But the best thing, and it's what you do naturally, is the networking, is the chance to meet
Yeah.
with other women and
Yeah.
to network and also to be in Ballybunion, which is beautiful. So like,
Beautiful. Yeah.
What's not
Yeah,
to like? What's not to like? Go back to
exactly.
Sober St. Patrick's Day. Where do people, if
Sorry.
people want to do that, that takes place on St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yeah, it's soberstpatricksday.org. And if you
Okay,
want to register, you'll get a reminders and emails and stuff like that. But it's actually a YouTube premiere. So it'll be live on
brilliant.
YouTube,
On the day.
8 p.m. Irish time,
Brilliant.
4 p.m. New York time. So
Brilliant.
it's really cool. I'm recording all the little slots for the hosting part now. So it's going to be a premiere. There'll be people using the hashtag on the day. You'll make new connections. I just think if you look at hashtag Sober St. Patrick's Day, actually, there's loads of lovely videos coming in. You have to do one on your bike with your husband now
Oh,
because there's
yeah.
loads of little videos coming in. And I made a video of all the videos that came in. So we've more coming in from Cashel, from New York, from where did we get the other video in from? Monaghan. Like, so it's just a really nice way to get everyone together. And I've
And
done it
here I
all
am.
to help them. Yeah.
And here I am showing my ignorance again. So is that on Twitter? You're talking about putting stuff up on Twitter using the hashtag.
Yeah, if you go to
You,
Sober St. Patrick's Day
great.
hashtag, you'll
Yeah,
see
great.
all of the videos that people are sending in. They're saying
Brilliant.
wishing us the best of luck. And Liz Christie, who did the scarf. Now, I'm not being paid by Liz to say this. I'm just saying it's beautiful, right? But Liz
Such a lovely
Christie,
color.
she actually did a video of her weaving this
Oh,
one.
wow.
So it's cool. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So she's
lovely.
good. And I've
Well,
never,
that's something.
this is an opportunity for all of us to get together and celebrate the nice things about Ireland. I mean, every time I go and
Yeah,
speak abroad, they go, "Oh, you're Irish. You must love Guinness or you must
yeah, I
love
know.
whiskey." I'm like, "Well, I used to, I don't anymore." But it's like I always go, "No,
If we
before."
could get our government to stop bringing anybody who's anybody in and having pints of feckin' Guinness every time somebody important arrives in the country,
Exactly.
I think that would be a good first step. As much as I love,
Ex-
the fact that Guinness is an international brand and it's associated with Ireland, grand, but we don't have to bring everybody who arrives into the country who's famous in to have a photo call with a pint of Guinness, either in a pub or in the Guinness
I
place in Dublin.
absolutely agree. Our food industry has
Yeah,
just improved so much. The food, I love like Lucinda and stuff, on Twitter, they'd be showing us
yeah,
food. And then there's Chad Byrne, who converted his horse box, and he's he's actually speaking at my event as well on the 8th of March. For the people watching, there's another event on the 8th of March, which is a Women's Inspire event. I'd love you to come to that. But I mean,
that's
Chad Byrne will
International
be doing.
Women's Day, right?
Yeah, and he'll be doing like I've been following him on Twitter, and I've just been so impressed. He's been doing little tips like how to make 3 meals out of one core product. I'm a
Wow.
terrible cook, terrible. And I was cooking Christmas dinner this year. It was only my daughters and my husband and my mom. There was like really small, but
Yeah.
I'd never cooked Christmas dinner. So
Christmas
I was like,
dinner is a
oh,
juggernaut.
I
It's
just
an
got you know
awful
what I
meal.
did? I'm such a cheat. Do you know what I
You went
did?
to
I went.
Marks and Spencer's.
No, Mary Barry's down here in Kilmore. I don't know if you've ever been. You have to try the food there. It's lovely. I got my ham and turkey and all pre-made and
That's
all, and I just
that's the way to do it. Honest to God, Christmas dinner is the greatest juggernaut of a stupid meal that anybody has ever had to make, regardless of how many people you're cooking it for. There's too many things to do, too many things
yeah,
happening, all of which have to happen at the same time. And most
yeah,
of us have a reasonably small oven and cooker on which to do all this nonsense. It's
yeah,
crap. Ever
yeah.
since, I mean, we're all vegetarian now in this house, and honest to God, it's the best at Christmas. I'm not, no turkey, no
Oh,
ham, just a pile of vegetables, and we're all delighted. And nobody wants to come to join us either. So it's win-win.
it's brilliant. But that's
It's
what you're
total
looking very
win-win.
well. You're looking very well. Is that why it must be the vegetarian thing? But I
The
mean,
vegetables.
but I didn't. I did want to do a nice dessert, and so he put up a panna cotta
Oh,
picture on
lovely.
LinkedIn, and I went, "Oh my God, I'd love to make that." So he sent me the recipe. Like, I mean, he didn't have to do that. So now he's
No.
speaking at my event.
There you
So
go.
this is what
Networking
happens.
again. You're an
Yeah,
absolute
yeah,
master at it. Listen, we normally spend a few moments just giving people
yeah,
any recommendations. I know you're not a big reader, and I can see some of your artwork behind you. I know you're a very creative
yeah,
painter, which
yeah.
is beautiful. But I know there was one book you read reasonably recently that made a big impression, and I think it's probably very timely considering the author and what she's going through right now. So tell
Yeah.
me about that book.
Well, it's Vicky Phelan overcoming, and it actually makes you feel grateful. And really, that's why I was reading. I even said to my husband, "You have to read this because it's like, it just makes me feel. It makes me feel like I know her more as well. Like she's so lovely. I've met her, and she's a lovely lady, and she's like one of our friends, you know.
Yeah.
And it could be your friend or your sister or me, you know. And I
And it's a
just feel,
very
oh my
honest memoir,
God,
and
yeah,
her life has just been incredible. I mean, beyond the cervical check scandal
yeah,
and her current treatment, her
yeah.
life has just been incredible long before that. So yeah, I totally
She,
agree with you. I thought that was a stunning book. It was a
yeah.
really, really stunning book. So I'd highly recommend it to anybody else. Do you dip in and out of Netflix at all? Would you have been watching Bonkerton, otherwise known as Bridgerton? No, all
No,
passed you
do you know
by.
what? No, I did watch it afterwards when all the hype was finished. But you know, I actually love Homeland. So Homeland is back, series 8, if anyone's
It
watching it.
is.
I just love this kind of CIA thing. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to be a spy back in the day. I don't know. I just love the whole. She's so strong.
Sam,
See,
if you used your talents for evil rather than for good, I know the CIA are meant to be for good, but you'd be great in the CIA. But you use your talents for good, and for, as Corvery's just said, you're a great example of good karma at work.
yeah, yeah.
And
Thank
Caroline
you.
Heffernan has just agreed, and I totally agree with that as well.
Thank
So
you.
don't go
Oh,
anywhere near the CIA shooting people, or knocking people off or anything. I
no.
wouldn't like you to do that, Sam.
I just think it's like, it's another strong female lead as well, and I
It
just feel
is.
that, I'm not really do you know what? I'm not watching as much TV. Would you believe that? I
I'm not
just feel
surprised
like
you're that busy.
I am busy, but I just like the quiet sometimes as well,
Do
and
you?
my daughter isn't a big TV fan. So, I'd rather be on a walk,
Whoops.
going out
All
for a walk.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, very good, very good. I'm just going to give one shout out to one series we finished watching here on Netflix, which actually I really enjoyed, called Summer of Rockets. Nice drama, British drama. Keely Hawes, who seems to be in everything, is in it. And the other guy's name I can't remember. To come back to when I finish this, but it's set in kind of post-war England. Well, a good bit post-war. It's probably the 50s, but it's all about kind of believing everybody's a spy and everybody's with the Russians and communists, and
Oh,
but it's
I
a
like that.
lovely, it's
Yeah.
a gentle kind of drama as well, and
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
violence in it, and it's quite intriguing, and
I
it
like
was,
guessing
yeah.
who's the spy. I like guessing who's the double
Yeah,
agent
it
and all
was.
that
You didn't
kind of.
know who was the baddies and who were the goodies right up until the very end. And but it wasn't. Sometimes I watch thrillers. The kind of ones that when it's finished, you actually feel your heart is racing and you go to bed and you can't go to sleep. I don't really like that, but I like to
Homeland.
be engaged. Yeah, Homeland. I stopped after a while because it got a bit too much for me. And,
Mm.
but I did
Yeah.
initially. Do you know what you'd love actually if you like Homeland? And I did watch all of it at the beginning, the first lockdown of, I don't know, we're on lockdown number 750 now, but the first lockdown I watched Ozark on Netflix. Quite dark, but again, great female
Okay.
characters, really good female characters.
Great.
I,
Okay. Cool. I'll
I
have a
think,
look at that.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you need to turn off and watch TV for a while, I would definitely recommend that for you. I think you'd quite enjoy it. Listen, our half an hour is up. You've been, as I
Ah.
knew, an
Okay.
amazing. You've been a great guest, and you're just a ray of positivity. I love what you said about
Okay.
anybody can go global. I
Yeah.
love what you said about, connecting with each other and the power of that connection and the power of social media. And I love how accessible you are to anybody. I think that's all absolutely wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
keep doing what you're doing, because I know you are making a huge difference to many people, but particularly to women who are getting their businesses up and running and trying to struggle with how best to do it.
Well,
So
thank you so
continued
much, and
success.
thank you. Can I just mention the event on the 8th of March? It's
Please do.
Win 21 Refresh. If you look at my pinned tweet, if you're on Twitter, you'll see it. Or women'sinspirenetwork.com. If you go to events section, we'd love to see you there. It's the 8th of March. It'll be really cool. It's really nice.
Brilliant. Brilliant. We'll do that. Sam, thank you again very much. Stay well and stay busy.
Thank
And
you.
I'll
Thanks,
see you on the
Emily.
Twitter machine.
Yeah.
Thanks
See you.
everybody for
Thanks,
joining us.
everybody.
Thanks
Thanks.
everybody for joining us.
Bye.
I will be back here
Thanks,
again
Paula.
next week with another guest for you to meet. So I will see you then, or I'll see you on social media before that. Thanks a million.